paper magic will survive like the heat death of the universe, and will...
Oh, it's a smuggler's copter. Would you like to crew this? And then it crashes because they don't understand arithmetic, because they're farmers, and how they get a pilot a I think you can't have a creature from Innistrad block flying a fucking copter around. I don't get that.
Magic is dying. I'm done. Selling everything.
All your cards belong to me. I might be a hoarder. And yes.
I don't have the crayons or glue.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another special episode of Brainstorm Brewery. We are fresh off our Monday night stream Hangover Hangouts, where we have been demolished at Commanders, I think how you would put it best.
I punted that game at the end.
Okay, DJ.
DJ had a chance.
I was so focused on the Dramoka. Like, if I had just taken Ellisher over that treachery, I think I'd just win there.
Well, there you go. Go check out the stream.
Yeah,
everybody.
actually, you would have.
And we did all lose to our guest tonight. Welcome,
as predicted,
Ellie of the Veil on Twitter. She does a lot of great content, and I believe, as you said, you answer questions and talk shit. Answer questions on Twitch, talk shit on Twitter.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I stream on Twitch and then I talk shit on Twitter. I am a writer.
Stream on Twitch.
I do write. I have written I'm a 2-time MTG esports writer now, so very fancy, very fancy.
That's more me and DJ combined, so like that's
a
credit. Use it.
I got to write about
absolutely.
Autumn Burchett and Emma Handy, and I was very happy about that. This go around, so yeah.
You are officially a corporate shill now. Welcome to the team.
I am a corporate shill. As much as I've been telling people to stop bitching about Secret Lair, I'm sure people think I'm a corporate shill. Not to bring that up. Yeah. Sorry, not to.
What do you think? I don't know. Do you all think that we should spend the next 45 minutes talking about it? No?
We could.
Sure. Oh.
Do whatever we want.
I think if you were going to call people a corporate shill or like not banning the Secret Lair cards in EDH, you shouldn't have called that person a corporate shill for the prior 3 years. Because like when you call them a corporate shill for everything, it loses a little bit of its punch when you like may have had a legitimate point. So like,
yeah, I mean,
you're not shaming Sheldon at this point. He's like, I stare death in the face every day. You think I'm afraid of some nerds on Twitter? I could just not get on the app. I beat cancer. You don't think I could beat some neckbeard? Get out of here.
That's
so,
right.
You know what? If you're going to call someone a corporate shill, have it be the first time or it will lack a little punch, I think. Remember the boy who cried wolf? Stop crying shill. That's our mini rant about it. You right? Like,
no, you summed it up perfectly. That's exactly right.
It does feel that way.
We won't waste any more time on that. Instead, let's talk Magic a little bit. And Ellie, let people know, what have you done with Magic? You participate in some pretty cool stuff, right?
Yeah. So let's see. I participated in Mythic Championship 7 in Long Beach last year. I did secure 1 win.
You were sponsored by us on that trip, I believe.
That is true. You guys did help me get there, which I will always be, as much as like I do not like the Magic community. Like if it weren't for the support that I got at that moment, like I just had no money, like actually no money at the time. Like I lost my job and all sorts of stuff. And it was just like, well, I can't afford to get there. So yeah, you guys helped me get there, which means a lot.
Well, it was awesome to watch you compete, and you got to win. You went to a Mythic Championship and got to win, which is something a lot of people can't say, especially now because no one gets to go to Mythic Championships.
We only did it because we consider you part of the podcasting community. We don't care about people who play Magic the Gathering.
It was funny because I don't really play that much Magic the Gathering for how entrenched that I'm in, because I'm not usually interested in the game itself so much as like what goes on around it.
Oh yeah, I think that's a natural evolution of like any rational human being who learns how to play the game.
I like to play Magic, y'all.
I don't like to win. I hate to lose, and that's like a bad attitude for playing a children's card game with other people.
Yeah. So I've played in that. I've done a lot of like behind the scenes podcasting for the past couple of years. I did it for the V-Click podcast, the Playset podcast afterwards. I do it for Elo Punters now, which is like a podcast with like Anurag Das and some other players, Bob Huang and oh my god.
Did you say Legacy? It sounded like you said
it's Legacy. There's Legacy involved, yeah, but sometimes we'll talk about Modern and stuff. But I edit that podcast right now. That's the only one I do right now. And then I've just been streaming off and on for
what's the Twitch handle for anybody who wants to watch you play Magic?
On Twitch, it's Ellie of the Veil, spelled the way it sounds in English.
I'm jealous of all the people who get to have like card name puns for their names.
Yeah,
like
it's nice.
Like Secluded Glenn is one on Twitter. I'm like, man, that's a good one.
And Jones has a good one.
Yeah, there's a few other like really good ones where I'm just like, I wish I could have that, but like there's no DJ, there's no Douglas.
I don't know. Douglas. Maybe you can like, since you're a corporate shill, you can like petition WotC to give you a Douglas card. Yeah,
that's the way to go.
I grew up hating being called Jace. When people called me Jace, it made me angry. So
Secret Lair GP Grinder, we did it.
Yeah, there you go.
Secret Lair
GPs. Oh, I played in GP Vegas. I've played in that one before.
Hi, that's the last GP you should play in.
I made that mistake one time.
Oh, not GP Vegas. I'm sorry, GPLA. I played in GPLA.
Yeah. The first GP Vegas, Corbin's like, I'm going to maybe make the top 64. And we're like, we're going to do Vegas stuff.
I got 23rd.
I put it the venue.
One draw away from the Pro Tour, unfortunately.
Yeah. Eventually, I realized after about 2 years of playing Magic and like going to conventions that playing Magic was the worst part. So I could actually just enjoy myself if I just said F it. I don't have to do stuff.
That's why I turned it into my job. So I
I wouldn't have done that either because unsleeving a bunch of cards all day in a convention hall sounds not great.
Yeah, playing Magic is the worst part of Magic. I'm pretty sure is the way I've always said it. You know, you always think it's going to be great, and then you play and you just mana screwed, and you're like, flip a table.
I haven't had that many like super bad experiences playing Magic, like in terms of like sexist or whatever racist stuff. I haven't really had it that bad. I don't think. I've only been called the N-word once, which is cool, and there was some weird guy, and I think he was trying to hit on me, so it was fine, but it wasn't really fine. But he was saying something like, "Oh, I must have only gotten to where I was because I was giving my number out to people." And I was just like, "I don't know if you've ever been hit in your life before, bro, but if you keep talking, it'll be the day." I don't know. I've had weird stuff like that.
When you say fine, you're describing your baseline is at a place where if we experienced any of it, like any of the stuff, you're like, that's just background noise. We're like, what the fuck? People can't talk to other people that way. Are you aware of this? Do you hear how the gentleman just addressed me? And you're like, that's that's FNM for me. Like, what are you upset about?
I don't know, because I feel like every time where that's happened, it's just like, man, it's somebody who's like, I would actually just throw you in a locker. Like, there's nothing you can really say to me that will change this dynamic of where you belong. Like, this doesn't matter. I don't know. I just feel like, well, there haven't been any instances where like, oh my goodness, my physical safety is threatened. So like, what? I'm going to cry over a neckbeard? Like, I will not.
You're the one too hard on this
eyeliner, damn it.
Cowards can't block warriors. I get it.
That's right. That's right. I don't know. I've had some good times. I've never had any good time playing at a big tournament. I've had really good times playing at LGSs. In terms of the actual Magic game. Like, I played like a 45-minute Reanimator mirror. Well, I was on Red Black Reanimator and they're on Blue Black Reanimator, and that game one took 50 minutes, and I felt like I left Disney World after a whole day. It was the best I played out of my mind, and it was the only game where I've ever done that. Everything else has been shit. So there's that. And other than that, I just like goof around and have fun and try and enjoy myself.
Well, we had a good time with the commander earlier.
Oh, did you?
To settle the wreckage, I have to say. I had a little bit of fun with that one. A little bit of fun exiling 25 of your creatures or whatever.
My pick of the week is dump all your Nahiri's lithoforming, because it turns out you can cast it for X equals 8 and whiff.
Well, everybody,
with a 38 land deck, you can. That's a thing that can happen. So, my pick of the week is pick them up and throw them in the fucking trash can.
I was like, you cast it. I was like, oh, stuff is gonna happen. Nothing happened.
Had an Omnath out. I was like, get ready for the pain train.
Nothing. Not a single thing. It was epic.
I'm like, if nothing else, DJ is going to take 4 damage and go to 1, but 9.
It was a great match, and as you can tell, everybody, we're just kind of hanging out tonight. Look, we know that if you follow the Magic internet, anyways, the Magic world's kind of on fire right now. So we're just here to hang out, have a good time tonight. So with that in mind,
actually, our game tonight inspired us. We are making our own EDH format.
Go ahead, Jason.
Where Elish Norn is not legal. If you have any integrity at all, join our Discord.
Elish Norn is a fair card. It's white.
Whatever, Ellie-ish Norn.
It's expensive. I mean, that would honestly. Yeah. That is my favorite white card.
Mono white cards need all the help they can get.
Exactly, of course.
Well, white is fine in Commander, right?
What if you can give all your white creatures 2 abilities? Doesn't that sound good? Doesn't that sound too good?
Elish Norn is perfectly fine. Have you ever had the old Elish Norn Cormispell combo pulled on you?
No, I've never had that. Is that the one that makes
it makes all swamps into 1/1s?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And then if you have Urborg out,
makes all lands into swamps. It makes all swamps into 1/1s, and Elish makes them into 0/0s.
Commander Elish Norn. You cast your commander Elish Norn. You've got a bunch of 3/3s, and your opponents have no permanents.
Why would you do that when you can just play Karma?
I was gonna say, I'll just clap my hands and give you a gummy bear because you're a mono white deck that made it to turn 7. Congrats! Like,
turn like
4. Mana rocks.
Yeah,
it's turn 5. I got to turn 2 Smothering Tide. That turns out I can cast the Elish Norn very
Oh my goodness, dude! My hand, by the way, was not good. I did not have the Exploration. I didn't have the Smothering Tide. I had like 4 lands and a Zeus.
And so your first 2 draws were like Exploration, Smothering Tide?
Yeah, well, my first draw was Exploration, and my second draw was Smothering Tide. I was like, oh shit.
Well, if you're annoyed that we're recapping a game you didn't watch, you can go to youtube.com/Brainstorm Brewery and you can replay this game. You can like and subscribe and you can finger blast that bell icon. So whenever we post new content, whether it's an episode of the podcast, whether it is a clipped out sudden substitution video or just us playing Among Us or EDH, you will get a notification that says, hey, your favorite podcast generated some more content. I should go to that site. I should give them a view. I should watch it the whole way through. I should send it to my friends. And you know what I should do? I should go to patreon.com/BSB and support them directly. But hey, if you would like to support us for $0.00, like and subscribe, blast the bell, that's enough, right? You did a good deed, and we really appreciate all of your support.
So, speaking of blasting the bell, another B-word alliteration is breaking bulk, and we are gonna...
That was really bad.
That was really good, and you know it.
This is the thing I didn't do. Okay.
Speaking of words that begin with the letter B...
Yeah, that was a good segue.
Exercise I'm doing with my child in preschool right now.
That was a good segue, and you know it.
Great segue, DJ.
Breaking bulk time. Breaking bulk time. Break.
Oh, yeah, breaking bulk. There's so much good stuff.
It's a pick. Breaking bulk. The end.
As somebody who brings great segues, I'm going to bring a great breaking bulk. See, that's another great segue about segues. You can't argue with that.
Yes, I can.
Absolutely not, DJ. That was incredible segues about segues.
I'm going to make my own gyroscopic scooter called the non sequitur, and it's going to be indistinguishable from DJ's segue.
Go ahead, DJ.
I have a rare Dominaria sorcery.
Urza's Ruinous Blast.
Incorrect, Corbin.
Well, what color is it?
I mean, if I gave you
Karn's Infernal
Yawgmoth's Vile Treachery.
Jason, can you finish your
Karn's Temporal Mastery.
Karn's Infernal Damnation.
The bounce a permanent, take an extra turn spell.
It is a Time Walk effect for 6 mana. It requires you to have a legendary creature or planeswalker in play, and then you bounce something, but it says take an extra turn on it, so it's going to be worth money. This is one that was it was a bulk rare for a couple years, or at least a year and a half or so, and then it slowly crept up to $3, and now it's down to $2. But it is a card when somebody hands me a fat pack. Like I need to come up with a term for this because it's like the fat pack box that somebody hands me.
But it's the fat pack box is like there's nothing in here. Anytime someone says there's nothing in here, they hand you a bunch of dollar bills.
And like the first card in the box is Rishkar's Expertise.
Yeah.
And then there's sometimes a Parallel Lives in there. Like it's just a box of really good EDH cards. And they're like, me want Snapcaster.
You should just blind off for $10 on those boxes.
I the bucks for that box, kid.
To be like, I won't look. I'll just give you $10 right now, and they'll be like,
flag people walking down the hall. Let me give you $10 for your box, please.
That would turn out poorly real quick.
Yeah, it's one strategy.
Once people figured it out and gamed it, sure.
Yeah.
Once I brought you a box.
After 10 minutes, sure.
But Karn's
Temporal Sundering, I believe, is the actual name of the card.
Yes.
Yeah.
$2. Pull it out of your Dominaria bulk.
All right. I've got one for you all.
Why don't you just go next, Corbin?
I've got a recent addition to the Breaking Bulk list here. A Dragons of Tarkir Blue Uncommon.
Is it the Dismal Failure?
No.
What am I thinking?
It's an addition.
There's a 1-mana counterspell from Dragons, right?
It's not that.
Oh, you're talking about Stubborn Denial, I think.
Stubborn Denial. Whatever.
Yeah, it's not a Stubby D.
Oh, it's Silumgar Scorn.
It is not.
No?
It's a creature.
Wait, what did you say it was?
A blue uncommon creature from Dragons.
Dragons of Tarkir. If you must know, it's a salamander.
Sidisi's Faithful is a common.
It is not Sidisi's Faithful. Also think that.
Yeah,
it's not that. Anything, Jason?
Nope.
Ellie?
I guessed a card that doesn't exist. So
okay, I gotcha. It's a Gudul Lurker. It's $1.
What?
Everyone's looking it up. It's a 1-mana.
Oh, it is
1/1. It cannot be blocked. It has a Megamorph for 1 blue. And
I'll be honest, I've never even seen this art before.
Hey,
DJ.
I have DJ. A lot of these in bulk.
I got one on DJ. I'm so happy. It's a recent spike, though. It's a 2020 spike.
Can't be blocked, so.
I mean, even in June of this year, it was like 65 cents, which is still
but like,
for me.
But Otrimi and Brokos both can play it. I think that's what people are mutating on unblockable creatures.
Yeah, it looks like it spiked. It looks like it spiked actually a little bit after Ikoria, more like M21, Double Masters or Jumpstart. There's too many.
Yeah, but like the spike won't be immediate on an EDH card like that. I'm telling you that Otrimi and Brokos are the decks playing this. Before this, it was Edric and Yuriko. So like it was just the supply was drying up on the basis of that. And like Lazov played it a little bit, but like, yeah, like the new thing that happened, maybe Akima and Kaiser decks. Who knows, man?
Yeah,
does it work, Kaiser?
All right, who wants to go next?
I will go. I have an artifact from Champions. It's uncommon.
Honor Worn Shaku.
No.
Is it an equipment that I can't pronounce?
I think you should be able to pronounce this equipment.
Nagati.
Naginata? No, that was Saviors of Kamigawa, you stupid idiot.
I just vaguely know what the words on the card look like.
Manriki Gusari, Neko Te, like learn some Japanese, guys. Come on.
Those are betrayers, but
I know they are.
Like it's not about knowing Japanese. I just don't know what the cards. I just don't really know what the cards are.
Manriki Gusari is rare, also.
Marika Gusari, I know because of how the Stoneforge thing when it became relevant.
Yeah.
But these others, I only know because they're picks, and I never actually hear anybody talk about them.
Champions.
You're gonna feel real dumb,
artifact.
DJ.
Did you say champions or you said betrayers?
It's champs.
Yeah, I mean, I probably will.
Oh, okay.
Did I get you?
I don't know.
It's probably
This is
one of
before
our
my
going to know
time. You are all
afterwards. But...
boomers.
Yeah, I just
Enza,
don't know
Godo's Mall.
Kamigawa.
Oh, yeah, that's one. Yep.
Checks out.
Enza's between like $150 and $250 retail. So these are card. You should just say, hey, I have 5 copies of Tenza Godo's Mall because I played limited back then. Why don't I just throw them in any box, slap Channel Fireball's address on it, and send it off in the mail? You don't have to sort. They will buy list it for you. Channel Fireball. Doing all the hard, boring part of buy listing.
This is in the new secret lair. This is Lucille, right?
There's a loose seal?
There's a Lucille.
The loose seal biting off people's hands?
No, it's the baseball bat.
I was making an Arrested
Oh, I
Development.
see.
I was
sorry.
trying to take us out of it.
Also before my time.
Before your time?
It's just a pun.
It's not before my time.
That show was on in like
Development.
2004. You telling me 2004 was oh shit.
You're
2004 was a long time ago. Oh no.
Yes. That was 16 years ago.
But that show is still releasing new seasons. Come on.
I was around. It's not before my time. I just never I never
Show
got
what we're
around to
talking
Arrested
about
Development.
Arrested Development.
That's
Oh
the
yeah,
one where it's like the
that one.
banana stand got burned.
It is about.
Is that right? The banana stand.
That is the right show. Yeah.
Okay,
I've
that
seen
is the
that
right
show.
show. Okay, I remember watching
Yeah,
just to the banana stand gets lit on fire, and then I stopped watching.
So episode 2?
Yeah. Short attention span, ADHD. I don't know what you want me to say.
All right. Well,
Arrested
you can tell us all
Development,
about your-
hyperactive disorder, where you can't watch AD because you have ADHD. You have ADHD.
You can.
Yeah.
You
Oh, that's right.
You can try to stump us with your breaking bulk. if
Okay,
you
yeah, I
want.
can actually.
Let's hear it.
It is a uncommon from Betrayers of Kamigawa.
Come on.
I don't know.
You're just copying. See,
I-
it's
Oh, sorry,
everything on the
uncommon. It's an uncommon artifact.
it's really unoriginal to just copy me. It's like you picked a card
No,
based
you
on the
said
same.
champions.
You copied it and twisted it slightly, is what? Yeah.
It's probably based
Okay.
on the
Yeah.
same commander I picked. That's all I'm
Alright.
saying. It's just
You know what? Fine. I will just go into my actual box of cards.
no. I would like to. I would like to
This
make
is
a
my
guess.
magic collection. This
That's
is
your
my
whole-
magic collection in here.
Those don't look digital.
Jason, what? Jason, out of nowhere, apropos of nothing, what would you guess her pick was?
If I had
All right,
to
hold
guess,
on,
gun to
shut
my
up.
head,
Shut up. I got one. It's a white. I don't know what this set is. No. It's a white.
Symbol look like
you should definitely just go
Card.
with
that
a
symbol.
Betrayers of
Shadows of
Kamigawa
Renaissance.
artifact. Is that what you said it was?
Shut up. It's a white
Draven
creature
Inspector.
from Shadows.
Draven Inspector.
Okay. No, it's not that one.
She's going back into the box, everybody. Hold up, let me update this on the spreadsheet for you, Ellie. We'll put what was the first one? And then we'll put Thraben Inspector, and we'll put the next one in too.
Oh,
You know what? Whatever.
So much value for it.
Let me ask you a question directly. Is
Yeah.
it Shuko?
Yeah, it's Shuka. Wait, I got one. I can get one. I don't know. I knew I was going to be really bad at this because I keep all of my magic cards in this box. Commons, uncommons. Look, there's like a rune tail. There's a force of rage. And they're Japanese card. I don't know what's
Corbin
going on.
ruins that many cards every week.
Oh, I got an intruder alarm. I didn't realize.
You have an
that.
intruder alarm just chilling in your.
Yeah, it's like a cool little.
It's
It's shiny.
Hashtag
The Mr.
MTG
Booster
Finance,
one.
everybody.
It's shiny.
Hashtag
You know what I'm
Evil
saying?
Cabal.
It's shiny. Y'all see that? It's shiny.
You
So
have a
Mr. Booster
photo
one,
intruder alarm?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tell it to me.
it's Mystery
I want
Booster.
that.
Yeah, it's a mystery booster, I
still know
think.
that. I've got
Yeah, it has a
in my
little
deck.
symbol. All right, I got one. I don't got one. I don't know what any of these cards are worth, actually, now that I think about it. No, so I used to like be real heavy into MTG Finance, and by that I mean I just like took whatever people were saying as gospel and then acted off. And I realized, oh, actually the best thing I could do is just buy cards and then like pretend I don't own them and forget about them.
Never sell them. The best time to buy a card is 1994. The best time to sell a card is never. There, you did MTG Finance.
Yeah, my wife, we were cleaning out the garage this weekend, and she found a bunch of boxes of sealed product out there. And she's like, did you know you had all this blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, well, I mean, I've been trying to forget about it. All right, it is time for our budget segment that we do every week. Sudden substitution. There are expensive Commander cards out there, and we want to give you some budget options. So one of the original sort of ubiquitous powerhouse cards of Commander, Staff of Domination. It was that thing. You just got enough mana. You could do broken, crazy stuff with it. You got infinite mana. You could win with it. Staff of Domination. I don't know how staple-ish it is these days, but it is still a go-to option whenever you're looking for that effect. However,
that's the weird thing is that like it doesn't see as much play, but it's still $50-something.
Yeah, it's an insane price tag on it for what it is. So I don't know, and it keeps going up too, right? That's the thing is it obviously only has the one masterpiece printing, but it keeps going up because it is great at what it does. So let's look at some budget replacements for it here, and I'll start with an easy one. You know, look, we're giving you ways that you can win the game with infinite mana, right? That sort of is what Staff of Domination exists for. And a pretty simple, straightforward one is Walking Ballista. It's a fifth of the price. It just got reprinted in a double masters, so it's a good time to pick up your Walking Ballistas. They're about $8 right now. That is a very nice price and a great replacement. Of course, with infinite mana, you can have infinitely large Walking Ballista and ping everyone to death, just like you can with a Staff of Domination. Jason, what are you looking at as a budget replacement for Staff?
But let's talk about the other axis of Staff of Domination. It wasn't just the outlet for the infinite mana. Staff of Domination was a participant in generating the infinite mana.
Right.
So I kind of want to talk about a few cards that kind of do the other half of that. Staff of Domination was something I played in my Kydel and Thrasios deck to help me generate infinite mana by untapping Kydel. So a few cards that kind of play that same role in helping you generate infinite mana, I would look at Umbral Mantle and Sword of the Parents, which basically both do the same thing. You pay an amount of mana to untap the equipped creature, and that'll allow you to tap it for more mana. So you have you have ways to generate infinite mana in like your Kinnan decks, but like anything that taps for more mana than it takes to untap it. You've got there's a Faber Elder, stuff like that. Anytime something taps for an amount of mana, you can pay less than that to untap it. That's how you get to the infinite mana. That was something I was using Staff for, and I think that's a good outlet.
Awesome.
For the other half of what Staff was doing, and Umbral Mantle and Sword of the Parents are both much cheaper.
Absolutely. All right, DJ, go ahead and weigh in here.
Favorite infinite mana outlets has always been Nezumi Grave Robber. It is a Champions of Kamigawa flip card that exiles stuff from other people's graveyards, and then when somebody's graveyard gets empty, it turns into Night Eyes the Desecrator. This gives you a 5 mana reanimate on a stick, and you can do some really, really dumb things with this when you get stuff like Ashnod's Altar going, when you have your infinite mana engine, and then you're just looping Dockside Extortionists. You can generate infinite mana like that with a sack outlet, and you can start stealing people's Eternal Witnesses, draw your entire deck, do all the crazy things with infinite mana. And mono black is not a color that shies away from going infinite. So Night Eyes the Desecrator / Nezumi Grave Robber. Jason picked 2 cards. I'll pick 2 cards.
Fair enough.
It is and it's $1. I mean, it's just a card that I think more people should play. It's very easy to flip if you Bazooka Bog somebody, that kind of thing.
It's very cheap. Ellie, did you want to jump in?
I was looking at Helix Pinnacle. Which is a not quite budget card. I mean, it's $10, so it depends on your budget.
$10 is a lot less than
than 50.
Yeah,
less than 50, right? It has Shroud, which is nice, and you pay X.
I want to cut in. It's cheaper than that. I got Mystery Boosted. It's like a $3 card.
All right. Well, boom, $3 from the Mystery Booster version.
So just if you should just like probably take
Just
it from the
restart.
top, I think. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I'll
I
just throw it to you again.
Mhm.
All right, and Ellie, you're the guest. What would you like to add in here today?
I think a really good card could be Helix Pinnacle. It's Eventide printing is like $10 or something, but it got mystery boosted, and that's $3. So it's like a nice budget option. And you can basically pay whenever you generate your infinite mana or whatever, it gives you your win condition. So you get, if you have at your upkeep, beginning of your upkeep, if there are 100 or more tower counters on it, you win the game, and then you pay X and you put X tower counters on it. So it goes in a lot of those kind of decks that would make that infinite mana. Doesn't help you make it, I don't think, but it's like
no, but it does. You also don't
it's a
have
win
to
condition.
go infinite with it all at once, right?
Yeah.
You can,
Right. Yeah, and it has Shroud, which is really nice because you don't really get that anymore. But
yeah,
there you go.
Well, everybody, thank you for watching Sudden Substitution. We do these budget segments for EDH replacements every week. Please check it out here on the channel. We'll see you the next time. All right, next up, we're going to look at an email. We always say we're going to read them, and hey, today we're actually doing it. But first, I wanted to give a shout out to the Original Magic Art store. There's a lot of great art in Magic, and while I wish I spent more time appreciating it than just looking at cards, whenever I see it on a playmat or in a big blown up image online or anything like that, I really am struck by how incredible some of the art is for Magic. And if you want to bring some of that into your own home, whether that's on a print or a playmat or anything else, you can go to originalmagicart.store to check it out and bring some of that great art into your home and support your favorite Magic artists.
And I know the name, don't let the name throw you. It says Original Magic Art, but if you wanted some unoriginal Magic art, that's available too. If you wanted a card called Storm Crow that has a crow with a storm in the background, that's not super original, but you go to Original Magic Art and you're like, I want a Storm Crow playmat. I want a completely derivative playmat, and they're like, well, it's not the most original, but it is Magic art. We can do that for you. So don't limit yourself, expand your mind and really access the full scope of Magic cards. You're like, oh, it's a card called Cooperation. It shows two people cooperating. How about that? But you know what? The Foglios don't really paint Magic cards anymore, but you can get some of their fantastic cartoonish looking what's new with Phil and Dixie looking art on a playmat or a print or something like that. You know, there's no derivative magicart.com. It's all available at originalmagicart.com. So that is your one-stop shop for all kinds of art. Whether it's something Mark Poole painted in 4th edition or something from another time in Magic, it's all in one place. Check it out.
Go check that out. And while you're doing that, DJ, read us an email. Hit us with this. Is this a patron email or is this a lucky?
Well, the email is titled $40 patron. So,
okay, we'll read this one. They know how to get our attention.
That's some physical comedy.
Foil intruder alarms everywhere.
Oh shit!
This is much better with video, everybody. I promise.
Wait, no.
Well, she's not recording a video.
I know.
Should not have made it rain.
The email is just titled Visk with just VSSK. I don't know if that's a name or an alias or the new broken planeswalker that Wizards has to ban soon.
I don't mean to embarrass you, but an alias is a name. Sorry for that.
Are you sure you don't mean to embarrass him?
Embarrass myself. That's new.
DJ,
I mean, it can't be as bad as when you were the mayor of Flavortown.
Man, somebody posted in the Discord that people can access by going to patreon.com/BSB and giving us as little as $1 a month, which is 20 or 25 cents an episode. In that Discord, someone did a sexy Guy Fieri photo shoot spread, and someone said, "Huh, Jason Alton?" You know what I said? I said 750 patrons. Now, is that a lofty goal? Yeah, but to see all of this dressed up as sexy Guy Fieri, you know, we got to set a lofty goal because I can't just be like ruining all of you sexually.
I'm unsubscribing, just so you know.
Hello. That will be offset immediately.
DJ, read this email before we go any more in the red.
I'm
Hey,
just saying.
Brew Crew, Hey, Brew Crew, just had a good
He
chance
wins.
to
He
view.
pictured it. DJ's like, email, and then he heard the phrase "sexy guy Fieri," and he went, "No."
Brew Crew just had a good chance to view the list. Do you think people will overcompensate for the new reprint policy, or do you think this will be one of those long-term dips like Graveyard Master? I mean, Ultimate Masters. Either way, Food Chain looks like a good pickup, but what price do you think would be a good buy-in? Finally, Corbin, merfolks are going extinct due to global warming and the intensity at which Wizards of the Coast, they said WOTCAHS. So I don't know what the rest of those three
Wizards
letters.
in the Coast and Hasbro suckers.
Hearthstone.
What is the list? Wait, I forgot all about the list. That was like 20
When
years
you-
ago in my head.
when you
About
open-
the list.
Well, that's a very good question. When you open we split into draft boosters, set boosters, and collector boosters. Draft boosters are the ones you all know and love for the past 20 years or so. Collector boosters are the ones they started farting out a year or so ago with all the extended art garbage and the borderless stuff and the showcase cards. Set boosters are new to Zendikar Rising. They have a myriad of themes and just Mark Roser to describe them as an experience. He wanted you to go on a journey while opening the booster. He described it like a cake, like the people that make cakes talk about their show on Food Network. Like when you use adjectives like heavenly to describe your food, you're like, okay, calm down. Yeah. And so set boosters can have one card from the list. And if you remember mystery booster cards, how those are physically identical to their previous iterations with set symbols, they just have an awkward little symbol in the bottom left. Cards on the list look like that. And they are just scattered throughout Magic's history. They are just they didn't discriminate when picking cards for the list. They didn't use any sort of logic or rationale. They
weren't smart about it and picked strategically.
So if you open a set booster for Zendikar Rising, you can open a Brazen Borrower Showcase card.
This is so stupid. You can also open a Bog Brew Witch.
Yeah, there's a lot of cards.
You also can open...
There's a lot of random cards in this list. There's no real rhyme or reason to them. They are
so weird,
physically indistinct. Like if you open a card from a mystery booster and you open a card from the list, unless you know which cards are on each of those sheets, you cannot determine which is which. And there are, I believe, 2 or 3 cards that are on both. Living Death is on both, and I think Vampire Nighthawk is on both, but different printings of Vampire Nighthawk are on each of them. I think it's one's Zendikar and one's M13. It's pretty bad. That is what the list is.
It's the worst.
Also, 6 cards use an incorrect version of the white mana symbol. Fun fact.
Yeah, I saw that.
But just 6. It's not even...
What a business is.
So
quality
cards, but if it was every card before 1995, but it wasn't, I don't know.
It's just so weird.
So this email is asking if people will overcompensate for the new reprint policy. So basically what that means is that people see that a card got reprinted and they don't understand the actual supply generated by this list, which is very, very low. The number of Brazen Borrower showcases being added to the market by the list is extremely small. And it's basically our listener is wondering hey, do you think people will be fire selling a lot of these cards? I don't think so.
No, people are probably, honestly, the real talk, people are probably not even going to know about this, or they're going to have forgotten because this was 6 MTG moments ago.
And
it's also
COVID is masking the effects of a lot of things.
So
people are having a hard time getting this stuff anyway.
And I'll finish out the rest of the email by just giving Corbin his little intervention from Visk. Fish is no longer viable unless they take to the skies. At this point, it might be better value for Corbin to eat his Merfolk deck as a patron goal rather than keep them as cardboard.
What was the first flying Merfolk?
Gaia Skyfolk, maybe?
Mm-hmm. From Apocalypse. One of the first times I was on this podcast, I was like, man, I wish Gaia Skyfolk was a Merfolk so I could play it in Legacy. And you guys are like, it is a Merfolk. And I was like, you blew my mind. And then I tested it and it was not good.
Sincerely, person hiding among the plebs. P.S. Wizards lied to us about the old school borders and foils. They pinned the blame on the technique was no longer available when it was about the money all along. P.P.S. Following up on Jason's comment about the benefits of the show, I've made enough gains from this podcast advice. Advise. They spelled advice wrong.
Don't shit on the $40 patron, DJ.
He's probably from another continent. Have you thought about that?
He's paying for us to do this.
He's paying 32.25 euros to be in our Patreon.
I've made enough gains from this podcast advise to afford Mythic for the next 20 years, if nothing else, albeit I was mooching for 8 years. Stick that up your Patreon pitch, Jason.
Well, thank you.
I will stick it up my Patreon pitch. You weird European person with your Queen's English. Get out of here.
Well, thank you for listening. They are right. You do pay to be insulted on this podcast. We might want to rethink the model of not reading emails unless you're a patron and then only insulting you if we read your email. I think something might be messed up in this
I think something
flow.
I think it makes sense.
Look, man,
all right,
people know what they're getting into. They don't email us to not be insulted.
You're right. I don't know what I was thinking. My bad. I
don't know what you were thinking, not reading emails for like 5 years on this podcast and being like, oh, I got a whole laptop full of them.
I don't even have an excuse. I think at some point they were just too old to be read, but I never cleared them.
From the vault. We can't read the emails because there's too much salt.
We should bust that out again. Actually, we'll do another one of those soon. All right, though, let's do everyone's favorite segment, or at least the one that the internet tells us we should make and nothing else. Pick of the week. Reminder, if you like any of the cards we're talking about this week, you can go to channelfireball.com to purchase them. And as Jason alluded to earlier, if you are a member of CFB Pro and you just want to send Channel Fireball a box, that's all you have to do. They'll do the rest. They'll price it out. They'll do the work. They'll give you money. So keep that in mind as we talk about pick of the week.
Isn't CFB Pro like free, basically?
Yes, basically. Yeah,
it is. Very close. You pay money, you get store credit right back.
So, okay, so I mentioned this because, like, if you were going to send cards into CFB and get store credit, if you're in the business of having and using CFB store credit, it literally makes 0 sense not to be a CFB Pro. That's all I'm saying. Because
I agree. It's just it's a very, very worthwhile investment if you're looking at that.
I basically got free content, and then got a Mox Opal.
And we were talking, Paul was on the podcast, and this is maybe a different subject, but Paul was on the podcast last week making the case that he thought all Magic content was undervalued in general. And if you liken, say, a high-level strategy article, like a Reed Duke Guide to Jund, if you liken that to industry insider advice in other industries, that stuff would always be paywalled. So
we were spoiled by Duelist magazine. Back in the day, Duelist magazine's like, here's a magazine, and sometimes you get a booster pack in it, and you're like, well, I'm used to getting a free magazine. But the internet kind of said, what if magazines were on the internet? And then your mom picks up the phone and you get kicked off. Just me? All right.
That's you.
So I want to blame Duelist magazine, which means it's kind of Mark Rosewater's fault, and he's been blamed for a lot lately, so maybe we can lay off the man.
Everything is the Commander RC's fault.
Yeah,
it's true.
Or the CAG, honestly. The rules, it's all probably the CAG's fault.
All the same.
That way it can just, if it's not, if it's not ridiculous enough.
Machine.
Pick of the week, pick of the week, pick of the week. Time for the pick of the week.
All right, this card's good. Riel the Everwise. I played against this for the first time in Commander the other night. And then I decided to look it up because this card's nuts, and it's only $350, and it looks like it's bottomed out from originally being printed in Ikoria. It's an 0/3 for 3, but it's got +1, +0 for each instant sorcery in your graveyard. Whenever you discard one or more cards for the first time each turn, draw that many cards. There's a lot of cards that lead you to discard. I think my opponent went, turn. They played Riel and then just a Faithless Looting. It's like, oh, you just drew 4 cards right now. It's a really powerful one. I think I got overshadowed by the fact that there was just so much broken stuff in Ikoria and Standard at the time in general. And at $350 and at Mythic, I think it's pretty reasonable candidate to be a $5 plus card if before too long.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. All right, DJ, why don't you go ahead and jump in next?
I mean, Riel's like the fourth most popular commander in Ikoria, and like which was a set that had like a ton of really good cards. So, I don't typically love buying the commander itself, but Riel as a mythic, I think is so cheap that like I don't super hate a $3 buy-in.
Well, it's also just a generically powerful card that also is right on the edge of competitive viability already.
I mean, a 3-mana human wizard with that powerful an ability, like anytime you have cross-format applicability, that's just like more axes where either the stuff in the deck or the card itself could go up. So like for those reasons, I know I typically is like don't buy the commander, buy the stuff the commander makes expensive. This is a bit of an exception, I think.
Yep. Okay, DJ, what are you looking at?
I really like Modern Horizons cards right now, assuming they can avoid being hit by Modern Horizons 2. That is not outside the realm.
How many cards were in Modern Horizons though? Like a couple hundred?
254, I believe.
Yeah, so
I mean, if you're talking about like how many actual cards are in this set, I believe it's 250 something.
Yeah, so if it's like if there's 250 cards, like how could they do a Modern Horizons 2 if there's a significant number of reprints? You gotta feel like if they're designing the set to be drafted, which they probably are, like there's not a lot of room to do a ton of reprints. If you look at something like Conspiracy 2, not a lot of bleed over.
Like I'm just like Modern Masters 1, Modern Masters 2 had like a decent number where it was like Goyf, Click, Bob or whatever were like the big just like repeat 1-2 punches. Specifically I really like Morophon the Boundless just as a catch-all creature tribe commander. It bottomed out at like $5 at the end of last year, like a year ago today. It's twice what it was a year ago today, and I think it can be twice what it was, like twice that number a year ago next year.
Yeah, a year from now?
Yeah. Like it was $5. It was $5 at like late November in 2019. It's $10 or $11 now. I think it'll be 20 in like fall of 2021. Yeah, assuming it avoids reprints, like they will never stop printing more 5-color shenanigan stuff. It's a catch-all for the person who wants to build 5-color horses or 5-color zebras or 5-color other like birds or whatever.
Whatever they come out with in the future.
Yeah. Like it's just going to be that catch-all for all the underrepresented tribes, and they will continue to push out those tribes.
I think at $10, Sword of Sinew and Steel is too cheap.
Yeah, like a lot of the Modern Horizons mythics, a lot of the Modern Horizons mythics specifically, I was looking at.
Yeah.
What are you?
And like,
is that your pick as well, Jason?
Honestly, boxes of that set don't really suck either.
Is that your pick, Jason?
No, Sword of Sinew and Steel is not my pick. I just happen to like it because it's predicated on the same deck as my pick. Now, Akiri Fearless Voyager is like the number 3 deck for like the last 3-4 weeks in a row. Omnath is obviously going to be number 1. Ashaya bumped up to number 2, I think, once people realized how powerful it was. But Akiri Fearless Voyager is making a lot of equipment a little bit more relevant, and my pick is predicated on that deck. At under $3, Armory Automaton is an absolute snap. Card Kingdom, which I feel like is the set that defines EDH like demand, not necessarily the price. I think you can get stuff for much cheaper than Card Kingdom by going to Channel Fireball or TCG Player or like another site. But Card Kingdom is like, oh shit, we sold out of this at $450, maybe put it at $550. So Card Kingdom is doing a ton of business during COVID because people are buying paper EDH cards, and Card Kingdom thinks they can get $550 for Armory Automaton. If you can find it elsewhere for like under $4, this is a snap pickup. Armory Automaton enters the battlefield or attacks, and when it does, you can attach any number of target equipment to it. So you have big equipment that has like a really high equip cost, or you just like make this like an unkillable death ball that just like murders somebody in one swing. It's colorless, so it can go in like Dalekos or Nahiri or Balin, or like the cat deck green white stuff, or like either Ikiri. There's the Line Slinger from the Partner Commander set, or there's the new one. Like being an artifact means it can go in basically any Equipment Matters deck. And apparently green black creatures are Equipment Matters decks now. So like being an artifact is very important. So I like Armory Automaton under $4. I feel like this is if it's not reprinted, this is like an $8-10 card waiting to happen. I would not be all surprised to see this for $8-10 on Card Kingdom in a year.
Mm-hmm. All right, absolutely. Well, Ellie, you're the guest. We'll let you finish out the segment. What are you looking at picking up right now?
So I'm really interested, like what they're doing with white
as a color.
As a color,
yeah.
I think like I don't really have super specific things. I do think I have my eye on Amiria's Call, which is from Zendikar, from the new Zendikar set. I think it's a really good card, like one of the best white cards I've seen in a while. But I think in general, I would keep an eye out for anything that does flickering. So flickering effects, because I think that's one of the things they're going to be really exploring with white. So start looking at stuff like that, like Cloudstorm Curio is a really good thing. Anything that flickers, even if it's not necessarily in white, I would look for that kind of stuff, because that's where I think they're going to try. They're trying to. Because white has its problems, right? Like it's not super strong. It's like always been more of a support color than anything else. And the things that have been really strong about it are not fun effects. So like tax effects are not fun. Balance is not fun. These cards aren't fun. So they're not really going to go into that space.
Like a turn 2 Smothering Tithe, not super fun.
I don't know what you're talking about. I've never seen it in my life. But I do think they're going to, they're trying to explore. They're probably going to take some things away from other colors to put back into white.
Green, right?
Probably from colorless as well, because I think artifacts have gotten white effects over the years.
I'm going to blink, and Conjurer's Closet is going to be $18.
Yes, sorry, that's what I was about to say. Like Conjurer's Closet, things like that, I think we should be keeping an eye out on, for these are effects that are going to be, we'll definitely be seeing them in the next few sets whenever Ari Nia, his cards really start coming out, which should be next year. That's
Did he win Great Design Search 2 or 3?
Yes. 3. Or the most recent Great Designer Search, he won. He's the representative of the White Council colors. And I've just been paying a lot of attention to the things that Mark Rosewater has been saying on his podcast, what Ari has been saying on Twitter and articles, and like he's been in some videos too. And I think that's like flickering ETBs. There was a standard deck. It was super fringe. I don't think it saw a lot of play, but it was like pretty good. I liked it. It was a blue-white flickers deck. It wasn't a control deck. It was just a flickers deck with like Thassa and things like that. So I would keep an eye out on stuff like Conjurer's Closet and things like that. Sorry, it's not more specific, but it's what I got.
I mean, that's great, because
you said Blink, DJ said Modern Horizons. What about Ephemerate and Soul Herder? There you go.
Ephemerate makes me so happy. Oh my goodness, there is this trash SCG kid, but he is actually good at Magic. Abe Corrigan, and he posted some lists, and it was disgusting.
I actually saw it.
Was. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about?
You're talking about his Uro list? His Uro, it was Zendikar Rising bullshit list?
Oh, so nasty. But it played 3 Ephemerates, and it played stuff like Gilded Goose, Thraben Inspector, Wall of Omens.
I saw that exactly.
Emery.
It made me really happy.
That list is
so
wasn't
nasty.
it like 80 cards, or was that a different deck?
Oh, it's a
no, it was this
card.
Yorion deck.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. Like cards like Yorion, that's what I'm saying, is like that's another good example. I mean, granted, Yorion's not technically gold, but I mean, you know what I'm saying.
Well,
but that
well, you're absolutely right that we're going to see more in that space. And I mean, heck, Conjurer's Closet is a favorite. And if we see effects like that, maybe they get printed into white more.
I think, that
could create opportunities in the future as well. Okay. Well, everybody, we did it. We got through tonight. We streamed for a long time. We podcasted for a long time. I think we recorded some after hours for all of you. Ellie, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight. We appreciate it. And for playing Commander with us and beating our faces in.
Anytime you want it again.
Remind people where they can find you on the internet if they would like to follow more of your content.
You can find me on Twitter at Ellie of the Veil and also on Twitch at Ellie of the Veil. You can also find my old articles at cardsphere.com, and you will be able to find my new articles on Channel Fireball.
For all your firing and balling channel needs, go to fireballchannels.com. Check out Ellie's articles on that website, and when you're done, you can channel all your ball fires into a channel ball and fire them off into the sun, just like we're done.
It's a perfect plan. Jason, where can people find you on the internet if they need more details about this channeling of fireballs?
Well, look, I'm not going to tell you to pay 19 life during a global pandemic. That seems risky. To channel that hard into your fireballs. Maybe wait a few turns, play some lands. So, if you want a more conservative take on ball firing, everybody, why don't you go to @JasonEalt on the Twitterverse? I have a pinned post at the top of my Twitter profile there that says all the other projects I work on the internet. I'm on the Brainstorm Brewery podcast and also a podcast called Film Hooligans on the They Said We Said YouTube network. I write for MTG Price, where I write a MTG finance series predicated on EDH. I write for CoolStuffInc.com, where I invented the 75% EDH deck building ethos. And I will be streaming more gaming on the Brainstorm Brewery YouTube channel. So check out all of that stuff. I make lots of content for everybody because that's how I'm processing the fact that I can't leave my house and go do live stand-up comedy. So check me out on the Bird site and support all my stuff.
You're coping well. You're clearly coping well.
DJ, what about you? Where can they find you?
Rose of Thorns at Twitter. The second O is a 0. CardGardenMTG@gmail.com for selling collections or buying or trading and all that stuff. Or my Twitter DMs. Magic Fests aren't going to be back for a while.
Yeah, well, everybody, thank you so much for listening. I'm Corbin Hostler. I do coverage for Wizards. I do Mining Modern and Punting Pioneer for Cool Stuff. We do this podcast. We will see you all next week. Until then, make sure to check out some of that content. Go find Ellie, give her a follow on Twitch. Look at some of the streaming we did on YouTube. And until next week, everybody, have a good time. We'll see you then.
Paper magic will survive like the heat death of the universe and will...
Oh, it's a smuggler's copter. Would you like to crew this? And then it crashes because they don't understand arithmetic because they're farmers and how they get a pilot I think you can't have a creature from Innistrad block flying a fucking copter around. I don't get that.
Magic is dying. I'm done. Selling everything.
All your cards belong to me. I might be a hoarder. And yes,
I don't have the crayons or glue to explain this to you right now.
It's not
Oil
just...
will be worthless before Magic cards.